We got a bit of an update on UFC lightweight contender Arman Tsarukyan as far as what is going to happen next with him, and it's not going to be a grappling rematch against Georgio Poullas. There was some talk yesterday, a promotion out of Brazil called Hype doing a grappling match. That has been canceled. It sort of happened a couple hours after this was announced, so that will not be taking place, and I think this is a great move here. I'll explain why in a second, but let's read the article here from Alex Bahunin. Does a great job over there at MMA Mania. It says, just hours after it was announced, amateur wrestler and social media personality Georgio Poullas would face Arman Tsarukyan in a submission-only grappling match for Hype Brazil last week. The bout has already been scrapped. According to Ariel Helwani, Poullas withdrew from the matchup because he believes the rematch should take place under the Real American Freestyle banner, the promotion where the Bad Blood first boiled over. Of course, I did a video on this the other day, which I do have some things to say about that because I got a lot of response to that video. But yeah, so it won't be taking place. And he was on with Ariel Helwani, Georgio was. He says, we're currently pending on trying to get a phone call with Dana to see if we can make that happen. So Poullas wants this to happen in the UFC. I mean, that's not happening. And Alex sort of confirms that as well. Keep dreaming, Georgio. That's not happening under the UFC. I know Dana looks at the Paul brothers. I know how he didn't want it in the UFC, but at the same time, I think Dana also doesn't want to lose business to another organization. I mean, I don't think Dana cares about that, to be honest, and I don't think they put it under the UFC banner. Okay, so there's that. And then also, Arman was on with Ariel and revealed a couple different things. So we're going to watch some of the clips from that, and then I'll give my thoughts on that. The first thing he says is, Arman says he's not interested in a wrestling rematch with Georgio Poullas. If they want to do a rematch, you just got to fight on the street. Even better than the rematch. Let's go listen to this, courtesy of Jedi Goodman, another great follow there on Twitter.
Are you interested in a rematch?
No. If they want to do rematch, we just got to fight on the street. Even better than rematch.
Okay,
because I don't want to fight in the freestyle wrestling. If you want to fight, we can fight anywhere. You can come to Newport. We can fight on the sand on the beach.
Oh gosh, that would be something.
That's something. Yeah, but he never do that because he knows like I need the one.
Well, yeah, that's not going to happen. And also, I mean, who's got the leverage to gain from doing something like this? It's Georgio. Arman gains nothing by beating the crap out of Georgio Poullas. Arman's in the prime of his career right now. He's a contender in the UFC's lightweight division. I get he's pissed about what happened in the match, and that's something I should have noted a little bit more in that last video, is that obviously Georgio was cheating a bit. He was doing some fouls and all that stuff. I can understand Arman's frustration, but like, this is the last thing you should be worrying about. You should be worrying about winning a UFC title. I think I speak for a lot of people. I want to see Arman Tsarukyan fight Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title. A lot of people didn't get that takeaway from my last video, but that's why I mentioned all this, because I want to see Arman fight for the title, and I want to see him be on his best behavior and secure that title shot. And I just think that the punch after what happened in the match, I don't think that helps his case. I still didn't get a lot of answers from people in the comments saying how that helps his case with the punch. Some people said, oh, they'll use it as promotional footage. No, they won't. They don't like that. So yeah, I just think like, I'm just glad Arman's saying he's not doing the rematch or doesn't want to do a sort of a fight here, because it's just a waste of time. Like, he should be fighting in the UFC next. There shouldn't be any talks of that as well. Even we got some comments here. Dude Shook had to get dirty because YouTube wrestler was taking his aura. Like, I don't agree with that statement, but he is right in the sense of like, Georgio's the one who has everything to gain here, not Arman. So glad to see Arman's not doing a street or any sort of thing, match with Georgio as far as a rematch. There's no need to do that. I know there's public interest, but like, the main thing Arman should be worrying about is winning a UFC title. And that's what everyone wants to see. That's what the fan base would like to see when it comes to Arman and everything else. So yeah, that's, just wanted to mention that I don't think Georgio has everything to gain here, not Arman. Then he also mentions about what Hunter Campbell said to him a couple weeks before the RAF fight. And this is key because I've had some people mention to me, oh, you see, Hunter Campbell wants him to fight for the title next. Like, this was weeks before. So, again, I don't know what the UFC thinks of this incident now. I'm sure they have seen it. I'm assuming they're not happy with it, but they also haven't come out and said anything. So we'll have to see what the UFC's response is to this. But here's Arman's conversation where he says he spoke to Hunter Campbell about his next bout, and then I'll give my thoughts on that in a second.
I think so. I already talked to Hunter.
When was that?
A couple of weeks ago. We got a couple of options.
Oh yeah, like what?
Like title fights, like just fights. I don't know. We'll see how it's play out.
When you say title fight, do you mean like lightweight title fight or BMF title?
Any
title fight. You're getting anything you want.
Yeah, 170, 145, 155.
Wow. What's the...
Okay, so quick thing there. You see he's smiling. I think he's like half kidding here. So first off, let's go through this a little bit. He's not getting a 170-pound title shot I don't think that makes any sense. He hasn't fought in the weight class. Again, this is something you have to look at past title shots with the UFC. They don't just give it to people who haven't won belts. Like usually what you'll see, like in the case of Islam, he was already the 155-pound champion. He's allowed to move up and fight for 170. That's typically how you do it. Arman's never won a UFC title, so I have a hard time seeing the UFC giving a 170-pound title shot. 145, I know he's talked about that, but wasn't that part of the issue? At least people, that was the conspiracy theory at 311, was that he had trouble making weight, and that's why he couldn't fight Islam. You know, if you're having trouble making 55, I highly doubt the UFC is going to let him fight at 145, as much as that would be a cool matchup with him and Volkanovski. Again, I don't think with him not even fighting in that weight class yet that he's going to get a shot at 45. 55, we already know what's going on there. It's going to be most likely Gaethje and Topuria next. Maybe he fights the winner. That could potentially happen. But again, nothing's set in stone right now. And, you know, nothing's guaranteed. That seems the most likely. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. The most likely seems the winner of this weekend's main event, Holloway and Oliveira. Obviously, more so if it's Holloway than Oliveira. I don't think people want to see the Oliveira and Arman rematch that happened a couple years back. But if Holloway wins, that's a realistic fight for Arman, I think. Should he have to fight Holloway? Absolutely not. He's earned his title shot, in my opinion. But the UFC's the one that has kind of said that, you know, he might potentially have to have one other fight. So I don't know. Or he waits out for the title shot. But again, after this whole incident, I don't know what the UFC thinks of this. I have not heard the UFC again come out and say anything about this. There's still people in the comments that think this is going to help him. I disagree. I think it's hurting him. That's why I did that video. So, and people again get confused here and they think that I don't like Arman or something. No, I want Arman to fight for the title. That's why I'm saying he should be on his best behavior to get this. And I've had people be like, oh, the Dan Hooker headbutt had nothing to do with him not getting the title shot. Here's Dana White talking to Robbie Barstool about the headbutt and saying this was part of the reason. So if the boss is saying that what am I supposed to think? Here's what Dana White's saying on the headbutt with Dan Hooker before his fight with Arman.
Fans thought Arman should have been the one to get a 155 title pound shot.
We knew that would happen too.
Of course. Did the headbutt play any factor in the decision to not go with him? It did, right?
A lot of things have factored in.
100%. I mean, it's not more crystal clear than that. Like either people have amnesia and don't remember that Dana said that, or they're just playing dumb, or there's the conspiracy theory of, well, Dana's just saying this because they wanted Paddy fighting for the title. Okay, you want Paddy to fight for the title. Why wasn't it Arman and Paddy then, if that's the case? Okay, another conspiracy theory. Well, they wanted Gaethje to fight Paddy so then Paddy could get a win. It's an easier fight. Do you really think the UFC is going to all this trouble just to make that Arman doesn't get the fight? Like, I don't think Arman's like a Movsar Evloev where they're like, this guy is not fun to watch. We don't want him to get a title opportunity because it's going to absolutely bore our division and we're all about entertainment. Arman's not really like that. Arman's fights are good. They're entertaining. They're fun. I don't think the UFC is going to these lengths. I believe Dana here. I think the fact that the 311 thing, I said this before, the whole 311 situation was unfortunate. It jeopardized a main event. They ended up having to go with Moicano and Islam. And then this headbutt thing happens. Like, you're already on the bad list of the UFC for what happened at 311. You do the headbutt. This is what I'm talking about. Like, if you want to get a title shot and you don't have any leverage, you got to be on your best behavior with the UFC. And this is coming from a place of, like I said, I want to see Arman fight for the title, so I don't want him to do this stuff. I don't think this helps. I don't know why people get so sensitive when I bring up the fact that this is not going to help his chances of getting a title shot if he's punching a fighter in a match outside the UFC, not following the rules, because it falls under the same category as being a liability. You can't make the main event because of an issue with your back or weight cut or whatever that you can't fight Islam. That's a liability. You headbutt Dan Hooker and the fight is potentially canceled. That's a liability. You punch someone after the match is over. That's a liability. Those are all the same things. I'll go even further here because I've seen people talk about this. Well, James, I didn't hear the same energy for Conor McGregor and when he threw the dolly at the bus, or Khabib jumping the cage after he beat Conor, or John Jones pushing Daniel Cormier. Two things on that. Number one, you're going to sit here and tell me with a straight face that Arman Tsarukyan is on the same level as Conor McGregor, John Jones, or Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's not. He's a popular fighter. I think he's one of the more popular fighters in the UFC. I think fans enjoy watching him fight. I think he's certainly got a big following. I think he's done some really good moves on the social media side of things, collabing with like Aiden Ross and doing stuff with Guru and all that. I think all that helps. He's certainly getting a big following, but he's not a proven draw for the UFC that I'm aware of that is in that same category as that. So what I'm getting at is the reason Conor and Khabib and Jones and all these people, they didn't get, they didn't have issues and as far as Dana not giving them opportunities is because it's good for business. They were willing to take that risk. Even Conor McGregor throwing the dolly, it's better Conor potentially fighting next as opposed to him not fighting. They don't feel the same way with Arman, because if they did, Arman would be fighting for the title next, and he's not. That's what people have to get through their heads. They seem to want to, use these other examples. And then the second thing is, it's a different era now. This was back before when Dana was really running things and making all the calls and all that. This is the Paramount era. This is the era that cut Sean Strickland off at a press conference because, you know, and again, I think that was UFC PR, not Paramount, but I'm sure Paramount wasn't happy about some of the stuff that Sean Strickland said, and that probably got relayed to UFC PR, and they're like, okay, we got to keep Strickland on a tight leash. This is a different era now. So this is what I'm getting at as a whole, is that the reason that I want Arman to be on his best behavior because they're being petty about this stuff, right? I personally don't think stuff like this should matter, right? Like, I'm not... You know, to me, they're fighters. Let them fight. I want to see the best fight the best. But we have to understand the context of what we're working with, and that is the UFC makes the matchmaking, they make the calls, and they have a certain idea of how they want fighters to behave and act. So that's why I say this. So I tie all this together because, again, Arman's sort of talking here about like what's next. Like, I don't know if it's a guarantee, and who knows when. Let's say he does fight for the title. That's another long layoff in between him fighting. Like, he still has not fought since the Oliveira fight. Or sorry, Dan Hooker fight. I keep thinking Oliveira, but it was still Dan Hooker. Let's say he fights in September. You're coming up to almost a year that you last fought in the UFC. So I would like to see Arman get a UFC fight booked next to keep active. I know people say that's not fair, but do you want to see him have these gaps in between his career and it affect things? Like, I don't think a wrestling match is helping his UFC career by any means. Anyways, I forgot to play the rest of the clip. Let's do that now. And I'll get my thoughts after, but just had to point that out because I've seen a lot of people come out and say, you know, I'm anti-Arman. I like Arman. He's one of my favorite interviews I've done. He's great. So yeah, just want to be clear about that I want to see him get that title shot.
Wow. What's the most appealing option that they gave you?
Fight for the 155 title, and like in September, October.
Would that be after Justin or before Justin?
After Justin.
Okay. You want to wait that long?
That's a big question.
I'm just doing like wrestling.
Yeah.
Making.
So you don't mind?
I'll do wrestling. I don't mind.
Man.
I don't mind. Maybe grappling, wrestling, RAV. What else? Maybe some new promotions. We'll see. Maybe they create some. I don't know. I would like to go for race car. I don't know, or like TV somewhere.
Race car. Like you're in the prime of your career. I want to see a fight.
Say maybe the winner of Charles and Max.
Yes.
Yeah. Does that interest you?
Better option? It's a UFC fight?
What about Volk?
Volk is good too.
But he hasn't fought at 45. I don't see that happening.
They say something about that.
Oh, wow. So it was a good meeting.
Yeah, it was a good meeting.
You feel
I mean, I always have a good meetings.
You feel like you're like...
Well, I don't know about that if you've always had good meetings, because again, he should be fighting he should have fought for the title in January. I mean, there's no question about that, right? So listen, I think this is good. It does sound, based off what he's saying here, that the UFC has kind of turned a corner and maybe is going to give Arman this opportunity. But this goes back to my last video. Do you think him punching someone after a wrestling event is going to be good? UFC is going to be happy about that? I don't think they are. I think the tune for Hunter Campbell might have changed after seeing this. So we'll find out. Again, UFC hasn't said anything, but there's still time. We'll see. And I hope they don't care about it. I honestly, like, even though I did that video, I'm just being realistic here based off the things that Dana said about the headbutt, other stuff. This is sort of the way I'm going here. Sorry, tried to hit that again.
On good terms.
I'm always good with the Hunter. So
didn't say
Was
Dana
Dana there?
No, we were on the phone call.
Oh, okay. So you spoke to him.
Yeah.
And how was that?
It was good. It was good.
Okay.
They said, keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, they like it.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Look at that. That must have felt good, right?
Of course.
They like the videos.
Yeah, they said.
So he kind of, and this is basically the end of the clip, but he says they like the fact that he's keeping active. Okay, that's a good sign, I suppose. Again, I don't know how happy they are about the punch after the bell, and I'm sure they're also happy he's doing a lot of social media stuff. Topuria is doing that stuff too, like going on with these streamers. That's going to get you more of an audience, because the UFC, we know, doesn't do a very good job of promoting their fighters. So this is what you have to do now to gain more of an audience. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing. And just a couple comments here. Hunter also told Chandler that Conor was next for him. Literally doesn't matter what he says. Does anyone believe Topuria or Gaethje fighting this summer and then turning around and fight? That's the other thing too. Yeah, I don't know if that's a quick turnaround. So this is what I mean. People watch what Arman says, but what's the reality of this? He brings up a good point. If they're fighting if Gaethje and Topuria are fighting probably July, right? Because I think it sounds like they're not going to fight at the White House card. Are they going to turn around in September, October? Probably not. You can have 2 more fights before that time. Just fight the winner of BMF title fight. See, some people are on the same page as me. I want to see him take a UFC fight. I mean, if the UFC is happy with him doing wrestling, then whatever. But I think it would be good for him to add more wins on his resume because the less he fights in the UFC, the more leverage he has, in my opinion. So, anyways, yeah, just wanted to mention that. That's kind of the latest on Arman. He doesn't have anything booked, but obviously, it sounds like things with the UFC went well. I wonder how a meeting would go today after what happened on the weekend. That's my only thing I'm going to say there. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Arman. What do you want to see next for him? Should he wait out for the title fight? Do you want to see him get booked against someone else? I think he should take one more UFC fight and just see where this goes. And then that way, the UFC really can't have any excuses to keep him away if he is trying to be active in the UFC. Because like I said, I don't think this wrestling stuff, they might be happy about it, but I think overall, fighting in the UFC is going to do better for your career. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.